Oh, Amethelis, why are you so numerous? Welcome to episode 3. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to give a huge thank you and shout out to Lantto, the developer of Sandustry. He was so kind to provide me with the music files, so now with these new videos coming out, enjoy the actual OST of Sandustry. In today's episode, I want to do a couple of things. First, I want to change up our planter design just a tad. It is working. It might not look like it at the moment, but it does actually work. The primary reason it doesn't look like it is working at the moment is because, well, it's clogged. It is clogged because the storage tank is full. So, it's gonna be fine. And I want to start out by simply clearing out this Amethelis storage and making some space and room for ourselves to work with. And also quickly just closing off this area over here, so no new Amethelis is gonna get in while we're busy. Because while we might be storing this huge amount of Amethelis at the moment, I kind of don't really want to store it. Amethelis is just an intermediate product, so no need to store it once we can process it. Put some belts in here to start moving mountains, a little bit of help to clear out the planter, and that is because I'm going to need all the space I can get. This planter design works, but I'm not entirely happy about it. And, well, if I'm not happy about something, I will simply tear it down and build it again. That's part of the fun of the game, I personally find. So all of this can actually go, no problem. Anywho, while we wait for this massive pile of flowers to be redirected, it is time we do just a little bit of exploring. And in order to do that, I'm going to be using the gun we unlocked. So this is called Shatterstone, and this type of obstruction is clearable by mining equipment that is in equal or greater strength as the gun. So this is basically tier 0, and then this is tier 1. That's kind of how it works. There. And this, as you can see, is called crackstone. So our digging won't work, and the gun won't work. It also does nothing. However, I did want to come down for this, because this is lava, and in order to grab it, we first have to freeze it. We can do that by spraying some snow over it. Now, I'm gonna have a little pile of snow over here, and looking at what I have right here, first I'm gonna quickly make sure I have enough money to do the drying and condensing for later. But I am gonna get the rocket launcher this time around. We have the capabilities. I know you're there, I can see you, Mark II Logistics, and while you are very nice, you are more of an evolutionary tool rather than a revolutionary tool. Now the rocket launcher though, that is a revolutionary tool. First, let's exit to this puzzle area. Well, puzzle. Sometimes brute force is a puzzle solution. And I'm gonna go for endurance, a longer sprint. Second of all, why I wanted the rocket launcher is to make mining this lava so much more enjoyable. You can see it takes quite a long time for the gun to get through, but the rocket launcher? Yeah. Oh, I love how the flare is stuck in the middle. There. Now, I would like to get the vacuum, but as you can see, we're pretty broke at the moment. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this in there with me and place it over here. I'm gonna do that just a couple more times, just a handful. We don't need tons and tons and tons of the stuff. Let's put it in a little basket like this. Should anything happen to it that melts it back into lava, at least when it is above ground, I don't have to first re-cinderize it before being able to pick it up again. Now the mountain is still growing, and I think part of the reason is the way this was laid out. Get this off of here, and let's get I'm gonna go for extended capacity, because this is now quite a bit bigger, just so we can clear out this area and actually start building. There, that's the last of it. And off you pop. So there we go. We have a nice open space now to redo a bit of our planters. Now, I'm going to keep this chute here as is. After all, we'll need it when we have the new version of the planter installed. And I am, again, going to base it, of course, off of the fan. However, instead of it being part of the planter area will be above it. So, there we go. Gonna give us a little bit of extra space just so it can actually clear out. It's gonna be 5 high again, and these blocks will be replaced later. And there we go. Now, since we have the advanced filters, we're just gonna be using those instead. And since the gold might pile up a little bit, I'm gonna give myself 2 blocks of space. Now, of course, block it. Get the conveyor this way and this way. And here, only allow the gold. Let's say 3 high, just in case. It's not gonna hurt. Of course, once again, we're going to be funneling down the Amethelis once it is over here. However, we're not going to be storing it first. Instead, we're just going to be using it straight away. In order to do so, let's see. This is the width, and I'm going to have the fan pointing down, because I have been messing around a little bit with my dryer design, and it is going to be using, of course, the stream dryer, plenty of portals, and it's going to need the fan to make it work pretty well. Let's start by outlining the area of effect of the fan. That is going to be this area, which is 7 blocks. Ideally, I use the full width, but I don't exactly know how well that is going to work. So what instead I'm going to do is make this a little bit more narrow. Then I'm going to leave, let's say, 3 spaces of space open. Then have an advanced filter that is only going to allow the dry Amethelis to go through on either side, just like so. Then what I want... Actually, you know what? Scrap this. I'm still gonna... Don't worry, I'm still gonna do the thing that I've been working on. I had like a prototype and I'm trying to refine it as I go. Let's start with the most important part, arguably first, which is actually the portals. Because I'm going to need steam in these steam dryers to make them work. And steam is a bit finicky in what it does and does not like, especially in combination with fans. If there's any kind of effect of the fan on the steam, it won't actually be able to use the steam dryer. Why is that? I don't know. It's just the way it is. But it's gonna be fine. Then what we're gonna have, this portal is gonna let in steam. It has a little area where it can fill up. And then once it starts overflowing, it will continue into the next one. And we're gonna have 3 of those. And this third one doesn't really need it. In fact, if we want, we could even have it like so. And this box is essentially going to be the drying area. We're gonna have only dry Amethelis to be able to be allowed through on either side. And I want this as close as thing as possible, because if the regular Amethelis lands on this conveyor belt, it's not gonna get dried anymore. So that's something I'm gonna have to prevent happening. And looking at this, honestly, I think I might want to reverse the order. Let's see if I can easily do that by cutting it, pasting it, and I don't think there's a way to flip this. This works perfectly fine, because now this little area will become dedicated towards some water and steam management. There we go. I'll just move this into position first, so to say. If it needs changing, as I said before, we'll simply change it. That's the beauty of games like these. Speaking of which, I'm going to be changing it immediately just to give it a little bit of potential space. Gotta love stuff like this, don't you? I know that's what you're here for. Well, I hope that's what you're here for, because it's what you're gonna get. It was a little less in the beginning, but it will become more in the future. After all, as I said last episode, I'm not an expert in the game. I kind of know what I'm doing. Honestly, that's good enough for me at this point in time. All right. These, and it's a good thing I have another look here, because as you can see, this is allowing gold to be filtered through, which is correct, but it has to go in the opposite direction. So any Amethelis that falls upon this is going to actually drop down where it is supposed to. And then I'm going to have a normal one over here. So there, I was almost correct the first time. Let's get this nice edge as well. And let's see, I have 2 blowers that are gonna grab all the Amethelis and are gonna blow it down this chute. Then what's going to happen is going to cart it off into this direction, and I'm gonna give it a little bit of extra space because Amethelis doesn't stack very neatly. It has some randomness to the petals as they fall down. I mean, look at this. They don't stay in a nice block. They kind of spread out. And that's the general idea. Amethelis is gonna fall into these edges. Let's have some over here as well, just to showcase how it's gonna work. You know what? Let's do some testing live, shall we? Now, how many of you remember last episode what I said about the behavior of liquids? They don't equalize in pressure on both sides like they do in real life. I can make this a little water reservoir. I can turn this into a steamer, and let me show you immediately how I'm planning on doing that. I'm gonna use lava for that. Because even though these pyro dispensers use up whatever's in the thermal buffer to, melt the stuff, steam the stuff, it doesn't have to. Lava will just remain lava, no matter how much water gets onto it and melted. And also, what you saw before, I can now say this little layer. I'll just dump it in this box with the rest of the lava. Just a little more. And this little bed of lava is going to be continuously vaporizing all the water. Let's see what happens. See, this is why we test. This is what I was afraid of. These aerokinetic fans are affecting these dryers, making it unusable, and now as soon as I removed it, it's fine. And now they work. And this is going to be essentially our setup. Now, we are going to need one clearing frame over here. And I know, clearing frames in a sense are bad, as in they're just not very powerful. The only job this clearing frame has is not to move all of the dry Amethelis, it is just to get rid of the very last bits that are not going to fall into the conveyor belt naturally. And now we have our dry Amethelis. I'm going to put all of you in another box for the time being. So this is essentially a proof of concept for how the dryer is going to look. The next step, you can see dry Amethelis is flammable, and once it catches flame, it spreads out toward the entire thing, just like that happens with the plants over here, which we still need to finish. And let's not be dumb and do that straight away. I may occasionally get distracted halfway in a task, only sometimes. It just so happens that when condensed into a video, the sometimes ends up being a lot of the times. I'm going to say a wet seed is going to fall here every 2 blocks. Since I said I want 5 layers before anything happens, that means I'm going to need a little bit of extra space over here to use our pyro dispensers. Now, they're only going to have 1 thermal buffer, but honestly, it's going to be fine. This is just going to burn in perpetuity anyway. We don't need any of this space, and if we ever do need the space, we'll just make more space. This is essentially our planter box finished. It's a lot simpler, it's maybe not as nice looking, but it's going to be fine. Petals and gold are going to fall through, gold is going to fall through again and go into the chute, and all the petals are going to be dried into this area where then they'll be dried. Then, back to the dryer. It is first going to be packed into this, and here I want to do something else. When a large pile is being thrown over the side by a conveyor, the conveyors won't continue pushing the pile until the pile has actually settled. With the flowery petals, this means the pile is not getting pushed for longer periods at a time, as the petals are kind of getting in their own way. The idea behind the splitting is to make several smaller piles that don't have this issue. I'm sure we're going to be returning here in the future to tweak it, but this is what I'm starting out with. Why do I want to put them through the portal? Because I have seen some strange behavior when it comes to filters, whether that be the vertical ones or the belt ones. Because even when I tell this that I only want dry Amethelis to fall through, once it starts burning and vaporizing into a gas, it kind of stops working in that sense. Or it still works, but something weird happens in the action with the dry Amethelis falling down and the gas coming up. That's why I have decided to go with portals, because portals are the most surefire way of making something one directional only. Then it is just gonna go in a nice box, and over here at the very end, I'm gonna have a little 4x4 tile. Now, where is that lava that we dumped out earlier? There we go. Now, and this lava will never run out in the same way that it will never run out here. It can burn as much dry Amethelis as anything. You don't need a pyro dispenser, you don't need to actively constantly feed it more energy, just a little layer of the lava is going to be enough. And right off the bat, we are going to be using the one-way portal trick again. This time to separate the dry Amethelis from the gaseous flooring that we're going to be producing. Once the gas has been transported through these portals, it is going to hit a row of condensers. They're going to need some snow to function, but that will allow to turn the gaseous form into its liquid florinal state. The making of this liquid will also produce us some gold. So once again, we're going to keep the gold on the conveyor and drop it into the chute that we use for the planters as well, and have a basin for the liquid to fall into. The liquid I don't want to pump out. The condensers are going to need some snow, and while we'll have to do that by hand for now, we'll be able to automate it in the near future. Now, I will also need some pumps over here, and they're going to be spewing out water. And since there is no way for fluids to cross each other, at least not yet, what I'm going to need to do is keep this pipe short and simple. And for now, that just means this. I'm gonna keep one free just so I can keep a visual of the pipe. Is the visual of the pipe necessary? No, of course not. They can go behind blocks, conveyors, or anything. I just want to see this pipe so I always know where it is. Then, in this incredibly big box, I'm just gonna store all of that liquid. And that's it. That's essentially it. I think we're ready to try this out. First, let's just create a big conveyor belt over here. and make sure that everything below it is gone. And now we just destroy this. Look at that wall. I'll just hand feed some of this stuff. Make sure it's on the right side. And there we go. Amethelis is drying. Let's also put in a little advanced filter that is specifically going to block the dry Amethelis from coming back out. And here we go, nice piles of dry Amethelis coming through. This is exactly what we want. I'm gonna give this a little bit more just so this can actually push through. This one is basically stopping a lot, and that is because a lot of this stuff has to fall down first. Just making sure no dry Amethelis, well, this tiny bit, but I think that was from last time before we placed it, as I don't see a new layer of dry Amethelis forming. It is almost ready to hit the lava, and it's gonna just burn up like a candlestick. And again, this is for visuals mostly. You don't need to have this entire bay filled up first. You can just, place it right over here. That's perfectly fine. I just like this big fire. See what I mean? You can see some of the gas here is escaping. That's why I wanted to use the conveyor portals. It is the only way to be absolutely sure that this gas is not going to contaminate this area. I'll think what I'll do as well is push this further like this. And in order to do that, I first need this area to clear out. There. This allows just a little bit more gas to pass through at a time. Gold is getting created, it's gonna get pushed down the chute. Liquid is building up a bit, but that's fine. Like, the general throughput of this is gonna be good enough that this shouldn't be an issue. And now I have this basin filling up with floridol, which is exactly what I wanted. So yeah, quite happy with this. Let's delete this, we don't need it. This doesn't really mean anything either, so we don't need it. I am gonna make this area just a bit more squared off, just so we know that it is being used. Now, since this pile is coming from the left side and the fan is blowing onto it, it's mostly just going to be able to use this dryer only. That is going to be fine. As you can see, the lava is still there. It doesn't actually degrade. Steam is perfectly contained. Nothing can escape. And now we're going to have more gold coming in. Let's put some more sand on the belt, shall we? So we can appreciate the entire factory in its full glory. There's more shatterstone over here. And would you look at that? Marvelous. We'll get to you, Shinelets, but not yet. Let's do some mining, shall we? We'll get to you as well, lumlings. And let's do this little puzzle. We should be able to use our gun, and this is essentially the same as the first one. So we can just use the range to make a nice little bed for us. And there we go, our new piece of artifact. More sprint, I love sprinting. Gotta go fast. And there we go, more sand is gonna come in quick. Now we do need to do something about the water, but don't worry. We do have quite a bit of it here. The workings of the factory. Look, we even have steam. Let's reopen the burnt residue. That's going to be important. There we go. Burnt residue working as expected. Gotta love that sound of money. Our seed witter now getting into action. Now, I did have quite a few comments on the last video, and some of your setups are really interesting as well, so I might want to try them out as well at some point. For me, at the moment, this just works. And sometimes, as I mentioned before, that is good enough for me. Seeds are being planted. Now let's give it a little bit of help, just so we have the initial flooring of seeds. Give it a little heat. And now it's being blown away properly. Look at that. That is clearing out fantastically. Our dryers are working well. Already need some more snow over here. Don't worry, this will be automated later. And we already have a nice shimmering pool of florinol at our disposal. Now, with the factory working and all of this gold coming in, it is time we get some more technologies. And this is going to be a priority, the Corraller. Then Logistics Marks 2, because we're going to be doing a lot of upgrading. And for my own convenience, the vacuum. Now with the new logistics in place, we can replace them on our toolbar. No need to keep using the old stuff after all. And on this one, we can add the Corraller. Christ, that's such a difficult word for me to pronounce somehow. This one, the one with the blue icon, the one with the little grumpy looking guy in the middle. That one, the Corraller, that's what I said. And we can go down back to those little guys we saw before. Here is one, a shine lamp. Emits decorative light. And these two, Lumling creates water. Oh, that is gonna make our life so much easier. You as well? And now I have 3 of you. Before we do anything with them, we have a new tab on our research tree, the Conservatory. Use the Corraller to capture critters. Each new species earns tickets. Spend them here to unlock decorations and experimental features. And the first thing we want, well, the first thing I want is this. The critter fence. Because, as a true industrialist, I must make creatures suffer. I mean, let them help me. These little lumlings are going to be creating water at a continuous but slightly slow pace the entire time. There they go, they pop like that. And these creatures is basically our way to automate water. Our dryers and everything are still working perfectly, and we have a nice growing bath of florinol. Now, the vacuum. The vacuum is amazing. It is very simple. I just wanted to hold cinder for now, and there we go. That is so much more than just what the grabber can hold at a time. And, same as before, I'm just gonna put it in a box and place some more wallites to show our progress. What is this place? It doesn't match anything in our archives. I will relay the findings to the Archon, retrieve the orb so it can be sent to the Sentinel for analysis. Then expand operations to Factory Tier 5. Objective, reach Factory Tier 5. Now as you can see, we're already very close to that. Let's grab this thing. Warpy. Now there's more water here, but there's also something else. Red soil. It is a lot tougher than regular soil. It doesn't break in a single shovel hit. It has more hit points, essentially, than regular dirt. And while there is something very nice we can do with this red soil and red sand, we're not quite there yet. On the other side, we have some more stone. And would you look at that? We have found teleportation technology. And we're back just in time because I think with this Amethelis being lit on fire, made into fluorine, condensed into florinol and gold, we have now reached Tier 5. We're going to unlock it, and we have an incoming transmission from Zoe. Good news! Basic viability requirements have been fulfilled. It's time to see if this planet can support self-sufficient energy production. Acquire batteries, charge them, and use the energy to power advanced tools and machinery. Reach a peak of 100,000 energy to qualify for the next expansion. Objective, reach Factory Tier 6. All this florinol that we have been accumulating here slowly, that's been for a reason. And the first reason is going to be this, the florinol battery, which stores florinol as energy to power machinery. In addition, we'll also be unlocking the drill, and last but not least, for today at least, the snowmaker. And you can see we have a new tab called Energy, and this is going to be our battery. As you can see, any full block is immediately converted into energy storage, and all these blocks together now give us 5,616 energy, which is a long ways off for 100,000, but do not fret, you do not need to cover half your screen in these things. There will be better ways to store energy. However, that is going to be for next episode. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Next episode, we are going to be exploring what we can do with the red sand we found down in the mines, as well as use our first bits of energy to progress further into the game. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you next time.